I'm your host, Scary Pops, and everybody loves a good scare. So let's get into it. In 1946 in Texarkana, 4 horrifying crimes occurred in less than 3 months. On the Texas side of the town, 3 violent incidents targeted young people parked in Lover's Lane. The 4th, on the Arkansas side, was the shooting of an elderly couple on their remote farm. After the shooting spree, 5 individuals were lethally shot and 3 suffered critical injuries. The cops received very little information from the survivors. The homicides took the community to its grounds. Husbands were away on business trips, so the women would pack up their belongings, take their kids, and check into a hotel. Some that stayed around tried to devise security systems in the style of connecting pots and pans to wire laid throughout their property. Normally unarmed citizens placed pallets on the floor so the kids can lie next to them as they slept with loaded pistols. Texarkana Gazette dubbed the assailant the Phantom Killer. Several books have been written about the case, and they had a highly fictionalized film called The Town That Dreaded Sundown. It was made in 1976, and in 2014 a remake of the original movie. They referred to Texarkana's serial killings as the #1 unsolved murder case in Texas history. In February 1957 in Philadelphia, a college student discovered a young boy's remains in the woods and called the police to report this horrifying find. Visibly and severely beaten, the boy was found unresponsive inside an old bassinet box. No one knew who the young victim was. Numerous people came forward with information about the crime. Still, the police could not verify any of their claims. Many theories were dismissed. However, the media and police have shown much interest in 2 theories. Each one has been thoroughly examined. In February 2002, a woman known as Martha brought forward one of the main case theories. She asserted that the boy named Jonathan was bought from his biological parents in the summer of 1954 by her violent mother. She claimed that the boy experienced physical and carnal torture inside the home. Martha knew of the information that had not been made public, raising the police's attention to her statement. The woman claimed that the young boy had baked beans just before being battered to demise, supporting the autopsy findings. She also said that he had been showered just before he passed away, which was consistent with the coroner's discovery of water-pruned fingertips. Although Martha's testimony appeared consistent with the evidence, her extensive history of mental illness rendered her an unreliable witness. The case stays unsolved and is open to this date. The boy remains unidentified, and his grave in Philadelphia at Ivy Hill Cemetery has a large headstone bearing the words, "America's Unknown Child." Elisa Lam was last seen in the lobby of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles on January 31st, 2013. She was taking a vacation down the West Coast, blogging about the experience and informing her parents daily. January 31st marked the end of those calls. Lam went missing. Her parents showed up to aid in the search shortly after the cops became engaged. No clues about the possible location or details of the disappearance of Lam were found, and in February of that year, the LAPD made public footage of Lam on an elevator just moments before she vanished. In the video, Lam is seen acting suspiciously, appearing to converse with individuals who aren't there, peeping around the door's corner, hunching over, and opening and closing the door. Around that time, hotel visitors began to describe strange happenings at the Cecil Hotel concerning the water supply. One of the hotel guests claims that the water was coming black for the first 2 seconds, and then it was going back to normal. On the morning of February 19th, a hotel employee used a ladder to scale the roof and looked into the building's water storage tanks. Elise Lamb's corpse floated within a water tank on the roof of the Cecil Hotel for up to 19 days, as the visitors used the water for drinking, bathing, and toothbrushing. After an autopsy, her demise was ruled accidental. A Netflix documentary that examined her tragic case, Crime Scene: The Vanishing of the Cecil Hotel, was released in February 2021.
This happened when I was 18, making the road trip from my hometown to my new college. I had all my stuff shoved into the trunk and backseat of my cheap SUV. This was not only my first long road trip alone, but was also going to be my first time being away from my family for an extended amount of time, so my nerves were reasonably high. Anyway, the directions I was taking said it was 600 miles total, which I split into 2 days of driving. I was taking whatever route the maps had me take, and it estimated I'd make it to the hotel at 11 p.m. But with possible traffic, gas stops, and getting food, I knew I'd likely get there much later. By 7, the sun was fully gone, and most of the cars were gone too. Every once in a while, a car would pass by, and I'd see their headlights slowly fade out in front of me, but for most of the drive, it was just me. This actually made me really tired and bored. Around 10, I decided I'd stop at the next gas station before making the final stretch of the drive. About 10 minutes later, I exited the road and entered a gas station. Being so far out, this wasn't a town or anything. It was literally just a gas station with a few pumps and a tiny convenience store. I didn't see any other cars on the road or in the lot, and not even any lights from any nearby houses or buildings in the distance. I pulled right up to a pump and got out to start topping off my tank, and as I looked around, I almost got jump scared by a guy walking up to me. In comparison to myself, he was much older, probably 50s if I had to guess, and he honestly looked homeless. But regardless, being approached out here wasn't something I was expecting, and his short smile didn't make me feel any more comfortable.
"Hi, do you need something?"
I said, hoping he wouldn't walk any closer. The man stopped a few feet from my car and looked around almost cautiously before responding.
"Take the exit back onto the highway."
I looked at him confused, not sure if I was understanding him right. He pointed behind me at the exit I came from and repeated himself.
"Take the exit back onto the highway."
After a second, I said okay, and the man walked off, but I was still really confused. The exit I came from that he wanted me to take again was a one-way road, so by his logic, he wanted me to drive on the wrong side of the road and do a U-turn back onto the highway. It just didn't make any sense. I looked out at the entrance road, the obvious one that I was supposed to take, and there were no signs of any construction or anything blocking it. It just looked like an empty ramp back onto the highway. As I put the pump back and got in my car, I glanced over at the man, who was now just sitting against the side of the convenience store. The more I thought about it though, the more crazy that man seemed, just to be sitting out here saying nonsense. I thought maybe this was some kind of trap or something, so I went with my instinct and drove out of the lot and toward the entrance to the highway. As I merged onto it though, I realized pretty much all the streetlights were out. I slowed down, thinking maybe this was a construction zone or something. I kept my eyes focused on the road directly ahead, making sure to be cautious of anything. But while I made my way through the unlit road, I saw only a brief outline of a figure to my left before a pickup truck came out of nowhere and stopped right in front of my car. Every door opened as 4 men jumped out of the truck and started running up to my car, holding weapons of all kinds. Metal bats, machetes, knives, and not even anything covering their faces. They just had this emotionless gaze, like they felt nothing of what they were doing. I quickly started backing up as they got just a few feet away from my windows, and once I got far enough back, I suddenly saw the outline of dozens of people coming out of the shadows off the side of the road. A few even tried chasing my car as I frantically reversed out of there. As soon as I could, I turned around and sped off. I called 911 once I felt I was safe, but for some reason, I never got a call back. No update on it at all, almost like they didn't even check on it. Ironically though, it was the creepy old guy at the gas station that tried to prevent me from even getting caught up in that mess. Or at least that was what I assume he was doing. Either way, I was incredibly lucky to get out of that with my life, as I have no idea what that was or what they were all planning to do.